Have you ever wondered why Taurus sometimes seems stuck in the same situation for years? Why does this strong and determined sign encounter obstacles that seem impossible to overcome? If you're a Taurus or have a loved one of this sign, you need to understand that there are invisible forces working against the natural evolution of this sign. These are deep spiritual barriers that block growth and keep Taurus stuck in old patterns. What if I told you that each of these barriers has a specific key to breaking them? That there's a clear path to unleashing all the evolutionary power that Taurus carries within? Today I'll reveal the 8 main spiritual barriers that prevent Taurus from evolving, and more importantly, how to break each one. If you leave before the end, you'll miss out on the most powerful techniques that can completely transform any Taurus spiritual journey. Stay until the end because the final barrier is the most surprising of all. Barrier 1. Excessive attachment to material things. The first barrier that blocks Taurus's spiritual evolution is excessive attachment to material things. This sign has a natural connection to the physical world, but when this connection becomes obsessive, it becomes a spiritual prison. Imagine a Taurus who only feels secure when they have money in their bank account, accumulated assets, and everything under material control. They may have a beautiful house, a new car, and expensive clothes, but inside they feel a void they can never fill by buying more things. This attachment acts like a heavy anchor that prevents Taurus from rising spiritually. The soul becomes so focused on protecting and accumulating possessions that it forgets to nurture its deepest essence. To break this barrier, Taurus needs to practice conscious detachment. It doesn't mean giving up everything, but rather changing your relationship with material things. Start by donating something you like but don't need. Practice gratitude for what you already have instead of focusing on what's missing. Remind yourself daily that you are much more than what you possess. Taurus's true power lies not in the things they accumulate, but in their ability to create abundance through their inner strength. When they can balance the material with the spiritual, they become an unstoppable force of manifestation. Barrier 2. Extreme resistance to change. The second barrier that hinders Taurus's development is their almost pathological resistance to any kind of change. This sign loves stability, but when the need to keep everything the same becomes obsessive, it completely impedes spiritual growth. Think about how many times Taurus has missed out on incredible opportunities because they were afraid to step out of their comfort zone. That new job that could have been perfect but meant moving to a new city. That relationship that could have been transformative, but required breaking some old patterns. Spiritual evolution requires constant movement, transformation, death, and rebirth. When Taurus refuses to flow with life's natural changes, it becomes energetically stagnant. It's like trying to hold back river water with your hands. To break this barrier, Taurus needs to start with small voluntary changes. Change your route to work, try a new food, rearrange a room in your house. Practice flexibility in simple, everyday situations. Remember that change doesn't mean losing your essence. You can maintain your values and unique personality while allowing life to transform you. True security comes from the ability to adapt, not from staying the same. If you're enjoying these revelations, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future discoveries about the signs. Turn on the notification bell and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Your participation is essential to bringing this knowledge to more people. Barrier 3. Pride that prevents forgiveness. The third spiritual barrier blocking Taurus is a pride so deep that it prevents genuine forgiveness. This sign has a very strong emotional memory, and when they feel betrayed or hurt, they can carry resentment for decades. Do you know a Taurus who still talks angrily about something that happened years ago? Who cuts off relationships forever because of a disappointment? This pattern keeps emotional energy stuck in the past, preventing any real spiritual advancement. Resentment is like a poison Taurus takes, hoping the other person will suffer. As they feed the hurt, their energetic vibration becomes heavy, dense, and blocked. The soul cannot rise while carrying so much emotional weight. To break this barrier, Taurus needs to understand that forgiveness isn't about accepting what was done, but about releasing your own energy from the past. Start by forgiving small, everyday situations. Practice compassion, remembering that everyone makes mistakes. Write a letter to someone who hurt you, even if you'll never deliver it. Write down all your pain and then burn it, symbolically releasing that energy. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, not to the person who hurt you. Barrier 4. Stubbornness that blocks new learning. The fourth barrier that hinders Taurus's evolution is a stubbornness so ingrained that it completely closes the mind to new spiritual learning. This sign can be so convinced of its truths that it refuses to consider other perspectives. Imagine a Taurus who has always done things one way and believes that this is the only right way to live. When someone suggests a different approach, a new philosophy, or a spiritual technique, they automatically reject it without even investigating. This mental rigidity is like armor that protects the ego but suffocates the soul. Spiritual evolution requires humility to recognize that there is always more to learn, more to grow, more to discover about oneself and life. To break this barrier, Taurus needs to cultivate a beginner's mind. Approach something new with curiosity rather than judgment. Read a book on a topic you've always criticized. Talk to someone who holds different beliefs than you. Practice the phrase, "I could be wrong," at least once a week. It's not about changing your core beliefs, but about maintaining the mental flexibility needed to keep evolving. Barrier 5. Fear of emotional vulnerability. The fifth barrier that holds Taurus back spiritually is a deep-seated fear of showing emotional vulnerability. This sign builds walls so high around the heart that it prevents authentic spiritual connections with oneself and others. Many Tauruses learned early on that showing fragility is dangerous, that they must always be strong and in control. So they develop a tough, practical personality that never admits to insecurities or deep fears. But vulnerability is the gateway to higher states of consciousness. When Taurus refuses to feel its deepest emotions, it cuts off access to an inner wisdom fundamental to its evolution. To break this barrier, start by allowing yourself to feel one emotion at a time. When you're sad, don't immediately mask it with work or distractions. Sit with the sadness, explore where it comes from, and what it has to teach you. Practice sharing something personal with someone you trust. It could be a fear, an insecurity, or a secret dream. Realize that opening up doesn't make you weaker, but rather more human and connected to your essence. Barrier 6. Spiritual laziness disguised as practicality. The sixth barrier blocking Taurus is a deep spiritual laziness masquerading as practicality. This sign may use its realistic nature as an excuse to avoid dedicating itself to inner growth. How many times have you heard a Taurus say that meditation is a waste of time, that therapy is just idle talk, that personal development is for people with nothing to do? Behind this practical stance lies a fear of delving into the inner world. Spiritual work requires discipline, consistency, and daily dedication. Taurus possesses these qualities when it comes to material goals, but often resists applying them to spiritual growth. To break this barrier, start with simple, tangible spiritual practices. 5 minutes of mindful breathing in the morning. A gratitude journal with 3 items per day. A walk in nature focusing on the sounds around you. Treat your spiritual development like you would a financial investment, something that requires regular attention to yield results. Set clear goals and celebrate small progress. Spirituality can be as practical as any other area of life. Barrier 7. The excessive need for control. The seventh barrier that hinders Taurus's development is an obsessive need to control every aspect of life. This sign can develop deep anxiety when they feel something is beyond their control. Imagine a Taurus who plans every detail of the future, who despairs when things don't turn out exactly as imagined, who tries to control even the feelings of those around him. This controlling energy is extremely exhausting and completely blocks spiritual flow. The soul's evolution happens through surrender, through trust that a higher wisdom guides our journey. When Taurus tries to be the sole director of their life, they lose touch with the synchronicities and guidance of the universe. To break this barrier, practice letting go of control in small, everyday situations. Let someone else choose the restaurant, accept a spontaneous invitation, allow a plan to change without resistance. Develop trust in the natural flow of life through observation. See how plants grow without forcing, how rivers find their way without struggle. You can have your goals and work toward them, but without the tension of feeling like you need to control every outcome. Barrier 8, the disconnection from intuition due to the overvaluation of logic. The eighth and final barrier that blocks Taurus spiritually is the total disconnection from their intuition due to the extreme overvaluation of the logical mind. This sign can rely so much only on what they can see, touch, and prove that it cuts off access to fundamental inner wisdom. Many Tauruses disregard their own intuition, ignore the signals their body and soul send, and make decisions based solely on spreadsheets and rational analysis. They completely lose touch with the inner voice that could guide them along the most aligned paths. Intuition is the language of the soul. It's how the universe communicates with us through sensations, insights, and synchronicities. When Taurus blocks this channel, it becomes limited to the material world and loses access to deeper dimensions of existence. To break this last barrier, start by paying attention to your body's sensations before making decisions. That tightness in your stomach when something isn't right, that expansion in your chest when something is right. Practice moments of mental silence every day. This could be during a bath, a walk, or before bed. Create spaces where the logical mind rests and other forms of knowledge can emerge. Now you know the 8 main spiritual barriers that may be blocking Taurus's evolution. Each has its own key to breaking, but all require courage, discipline, and above all, a conscious decision to want to grow. Remember that recognizing these barriers isn't a reason to judge yourself, but rather a precious opportunity for transformation. Every Taurus has immense spiritual potential within them, a unique ability to manifest abundance not only materially, but in all areas of life. Which of these barriers do you recognize as the strongest in your life, or in the life of a Taurus you know? Transformation begins with awareness, and you've already taken the first step by getting here. Use these revelations as a map for your evolutionary journey. Be patient with yourself, but also be determined. After all, when a Taurus truly decides to change, there's no force in the universe that can stop them from achieving their highest self.